Hold on. I gotta get ready for the show. Wait. Wardrobe change, baby. Hold on. Dude.
Uh-oh. Aha!
Huh? How about that, right? That's how you start. Dude, I'm not like this because I'm in radio. I'm in radio because I'm like this. You know what I mean? Dude, before we even kick into the theme intro, my good friend, Rodney Ryan, out of the blue, sends me a t-shirt, and it says on it, you know what? It says, it's a lot to put on a t-shirt. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of words.
I'm not like this because I'm in Van Halen. I'm in Van Halen because I'm like this.
It's like the best TV show line ever.
It's so freaking great. And, I'm just I don't order a lot of shit on Amazon. So when a package comes for me, I'm like, oh, this is going to be this. I pretty much know what I order, When I get a package, I'm like, well, I didn't order anything. What the fuck's going on? So I look at it. I'm like, well, maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I did. And I open it up and I pull out the shirt. My wife's standing there. She goes, no way. Because she's a huge fan of The Bear, too. The TV show The Bear. She's like, that's fucking great. She's like, oh, God, that's from Rod, isn't it? I go, yeah, it is. She goes, you guys are children.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
That is Rod. Oh, who's start? I'll start. That's Rod Ryan, Jason Ginty. Rod, thank you for the kick-ass t-shirt, dude. I will wear this thing with pride. Episode 96. We got a lot to cover today, man. You can catch us on our YouTube channel. You can also download it anywhere you go. And we've got some feedback from last episode, our top 5 one-hit wonders. And then this week, we had a lot to cover. Top 5 favorite grunge tunes of all time. I can't believe we didn't do this one, first of all.
I know Mike Walker sent it in this morning, and I almost don't remember saying it, but I obviously sent you a ton of emails. I must have said on the air today, if anybody has any ideas for top 5s, email me. I got a ton of emails. Yeah, everything awesome. From Denzel Washington to top songs that you didn't know what they were singing about. But Mike Walker, he breaks it through, and so he suggested the top 5 grunge songs.
That's awesome. Great I'm looking forward to this is gonna be an easy and tough one. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes. I had something sent to me in the mail besides this really awesome t-shirt that, thank you again, Rod, that I'll talk about in a second. That's pretty cool. And then I've got a couple of I got a very interesting question to pose to the family, to the room, to the Play Pants family, boy. I guess. And I want to get a lot of feedback on this because it's going to be an interesting little topic that will eventually wander into our top 5 favorite grunge songs. But Rod, you got some feedback from last episode.
Dude, I'm telling you, we got probably the biggest response that we've gotten in a long time on our YouTube channel, Play Pants Pod. And last week was One Hit Wonders, which was a topic that we were kicking around for a couple of weeks. And then we finally got around to doing it. And you know what's interesting? I like the people that are kind of adventurous. They will leave. I know Cool Karen does this, and Hat Trick Brad also. They know what the topic is, and they want to give their top 5s before they're influenced by us.
I'm glad you saw that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, people are starting to jump in. They're trying to lay it out there before they listen. And I think that's a fun game to play. Yeah, no, I saw that too. I thought it was kind of neat.
So Hat Trick Brad, great name, by the way, must be a hockey fan. So he goes, here's my top 5 pre-watching y'all's list. Dreamweaver, Gary Wright in at 5. Play That Funky Music, White Boy, Wild Cherry. Mm-hmm. Angel Eyes, Jeff Healey.
Damn it, that's a good song.
But he had Can't You See the Light? Can't you see the light? I mean, I guess he's a one-hit wonder. I don't consider him a one-hit wonder. Possum Kingdom, Toadies.
Yeah, that's big.
Here, they're not a one-hit wonder, but everywhere else they are.
Right.
And My Sharona, The Knack.
Ooh.
So, great list from Hat Trick Brad. Our brother, Francis DeRosa. I'm going to post my list first, then listen to the pod. Flagpole Sitta, Harvey Danger.
That's a good one, actually, yeah.
Popular, Not a Surf. No Rain, Blind Melon. I Got a Girl, Tripping Daisy. God damn, Francis is good. Counting Blue Cars, Dishwalla. Yes. Jenny Says, Cowboy Mouth.
Wow. Yeah, all legit, man. Totally legit. You know what I find interesting about that is that, Francis a little bit older than us. I thought he would have went further back on that one, but man, but then when we were working with him, he was so about the music. About the music at that time. Francis, so that's cool.
Francis was the sales manager when we moved into the late 90s. When we moved down to New Orleans, Francis was there, and he was the sales manager, and he was so in our shit about the music. I'm like, don't you have something to sell? Don't you have salespeople? Like, he was so concerned about, are we getting enough spins on this? And, he was awesome. He was so about the music. And he was a big part of the success of, those early years of KKND. Karen also, she put down her one-hit wonder list. She said this was tough, probably way out of sync with you guys. All Star by Smash Mouth. She definitely put that one down before the singer passed away.
Rip.
Stacy's Mom, Fountains of Wayne. My Sharona, The Knack. Good, Better Than Ezra. Sex and Candy, Marcy Playground. And honorable mention, Spirit in the Sky, Mbop, Walking the Wild Side, Epic, and One of Us, Joan Osborne. Karen, that's a top 20.
Five. You know what? Going back to the Better Than Ezra, Good, In the Blood was a hit, and they have had other hits, but I get it. I see where you're going with that. So that's totally fine.
And then I'll just read one more. Nick Cordova. Rod, what's wrong with you? Selma Hayek is way hotter than Penelope Cruz. End of story. I'll tell you what. I mean, they're both awesome. They're both unbelievable. I am obsessed with Salma Hayek's Instagram. It's unbelievable how active she is and just running around in bathing suits and bikinis and everything else. And I don't see a lot of output by Penelope Cruz. As a matter of fact, I might not even follow her on social media. But Salma Hayek is like the queen right now. I mean, she's awesome. Her follow is killer.
Yeah. No, she's good. But that's like, you're arguing over, two amazing people. So it's like, okay, you can't lose on that one, I don't think. There was a guy on our Facebook page at Playpants Pod, and I forget who it was because I could look it up, but I won't. We had put Living Color Cult of Personality as a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
And a couple guys went back and forth. I let them hash it out. I wasn't going to get involved. And they said, no way is Living Color a one-hit wonder. We kind of talked about that.
Did they mention another? I mean, if you're going to argue that, you got to give me a song.
Hold on. I'll look it up.
What's the one other song? I mean, there were other songs. I get that, but I think it's pretty well understood and accepted that they are a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. I mean, just because you like the band and all that great, good stuff.
Yeah, we kind of got into that a little bit when we talked about it. I mean, the Toadies are not a one-hit wonder. They're a local band, though. Better Than Ezra. Same thing in New Orleans.
Right.
They're not a one-hit wonder. But for the most part, yeah.
Wait, this is great. This is awesome. Oh, I'm glad I looked this up. I should do this more often.
See, I mean, it helps to look things up every now and then.
I know. Look, Brian Boatman, great name. He says, wait, Living Color is not a one-hit wonder. I'm kicking ice cubes under your fridge. He's going to kick ice cubes under your fridge, bro. And then Greg McGee says, I concur. And they also put on a great show.
Well, I know Oil and Gas Greg. That's Greg McGee. He's just saw them recently. I think they play. Have you heard of that festival, The Sands? Like 80s in the Sand or something like that. He goes every year to that, and there's always a bunch of different bands, and usually there's a couple of rock bands there, and then there'll be the typical 80s type bands. So I'm not saying that they're not great,
right?
I'm not saying that they're not awesome, but nobody's coming at me with another big song.
Actually, Greg Lilly says to Brian Boatman, agreed. Open Letter. Apparently,
nope.
Was a song. I don't even know it, so that's not a hit. Yeah.
I believe that's that Open Letter to a Landlord. It deals with topics and things.
Doesn't mean it's not a bad song, just not a hit.
Great song. Nope, great song.
You're looking at two guys that worked in radio or still actually work in radio, and I've never played that song on the air. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but as far as a hit, no. No, it's a one-hit wonder. So a lot of great feedback. And again, this isn't about arguing who's, which one's better. It's I got a lot of songs I didn't think were one-hit wonders out of the deal, and songs that I had forgotten about. You could run down a laundry list of shit.
A really, really good suggestion too. And this is, again, I'm getting a lot of these comments from our YouTube page, our top 5 one-hit wonders.
Quit the podcast.
Yeah. Guys, quit now. Yeah. These are the most shittiest sounding podcasts I've ever listened. No, it doesn't say that. MTZ, y'all should have broken this down top 5 70s, 80s, 90s. Then you could have strung this along for weeks, which is pretty brilliant because, like you said, we were thinking that Franco was going to maybe throw some older ones in there. You could easily do one-hit wonders from those decades. And yeah. I don't think it would get monotonous. I think, we could probably go back to that well.
Yeah, I think we will because we'll run out of top 5 ideas by ourselves. So that makes sense. Rod, I wanted to pose this question to you. This is interesting. I want to, because this is a good music question for the room. You know what I mean? This is interesting. This was brought to my attention, my buddy James, who works in the radio business, by the way. So this is coming from a very cool place. He says, if Smells Like Teen Spirit was released today, would it have the same impact it did in 1991? Despite all the noise, would it change everything? And when he says noise, I think he means like with the internet and all the crazy shit.
Yeah. No, it was needed at that time. I don't know that it would, because I think we do need a change right now. But I just think it's one of those moments at the right place at the right time. It was needed. And it was bubbling under for a long time. When we're going to talk about grunge, because we're doing the top 5 grunge, they didn't invent it. And they weren't the first band. There were a lot of bands that were kicking around Seattle. And, if you look at like the grunge, and it goes all the way back to 85 with Green River and Soundgarden's in there. The Melvins are in there. And Nirvana would tell you right out of the gate that, Melvins were their biggest influence. But I just think that, no, I don't think it would have the impact that it does. As a matter of fact, I know it wouldn't have the impact that it had at the time.
There's a lot of reasons. So like you said, at the time, there was this weird lull. There's this, you remember in 90, like on the radio, there's just nothing good on the radio in the early 90s. It just felt stale. Everything felt stale. You didn't have anything. I mean, did you really need that second album from Steelheart? You didn't. The third album from Firehouse, none of it was really doing anything. Yeah, yes, you had your Guns N' Roses and your Metallicas of the world, but overall, it was a staleness in the air. And then Nirvana, who, by the way, didn't want to invent grunge. They just made an album. That's all they did, Yeah. And when it came out, it was a perfect storm. And you had other bands that kind of pushed it along. You had cultural things, the flannel, the whole thing, the movies. You look at the movie Singles, that's at the same time period. You had a lot of factors kind of adding up to it. Would it do well today if it was released? I think it would be a song that would do well on the rock charts and the alternative charts. It would go up, it would hang out for a little while, and it would go down, and that would be it. It would be a song that was great, but it disappears. I really think that's how it would go because we are in a very splintered world now too. I mean, Smells Like Teen Spirit did kind of take over. It was all over the place. But with rap being so strong right now in the last 15 years, the rap game is so strong. Is something going to come out and blow all of that out of the water the way that Teen Spirit did in 91?
I don't think so. What I really think, where there's going to be a huge shift, I think it's going to happen in pop music. I think there's going to be some sort of and I kind of maybe thought that Billie Eilish was going to do something. You're looking for that meteor, to come in like Nirvana and, like the Seattle, that grunge movement, because what do we talk about? What are all the bands that got destroyed? Poison, you mentioned Steelheart, the hair bands that we celebrated and that we love and that we talked about when we did our top 5 hair band list, and we were arguing what's hair bands. But it became the songs all became, you know, it was all a formula and they all looked the same, and you know, they just gave you so much of it that's why we needed the change. I kind of feel like the pop stars of today, and if you want to get into it, you know, you got all the Doja Cats out there, and I kind of feel like it might get back to the music and less about the look, and because all of these girls are Instagram stars, you know, and I kind of feel like their fashion and how they carry themselves on social media is just as important as the music. Now, Taylor Swift is kind of a unique situation, but she's the biggest star in the world right now. But I think pop music might be the next one to, you know, to be knocked on their asses with something like, you know, something like a Jewel rolls in, you know, or something that is just completely stripped down musically, and it's not twerking and it's not the background dancers, and girls say, oh, this I can relate to.
Right. Yeah, it's powerful.
I think that if there's going to be something like that, it would be in the pop, it'd be in the pop space right now. Because I look at these pop stars, and it's not that it's not good, but the substance and everything, it's, you know, it's more important. The image is almost more important than the music right now. That's exactly where rock was.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And with the image stuff, those songs, I mean, pop music's always been like bubble gum. You know, you get that stick of gum, you chew it, you're like, this is awesome. And then after 10 minutes, you're like, it sucks, spit it out. That's pop music. It comes and it goes pretty quick. It doesn't have a lot of staying power. That's always been the way. But it feels to me, and, you know, here, get off my lawn, you know, Grandpa, but it feels even more disposable because most of it is just that Instagram fame. Or, you know, you look at what country's doing, and I don't know shit about country, but country's kind of making the big stink right now because whatever that song was that everybody got pissed off about. Well, was that even a good song or not? I don't know, but it rose to number 1 in like 3 seconds. Everyone was pissed off, and then it disappeared. You know, is it because we have so much power of social media that's lifting these songs up? Is it not necessarily because they're good?
Well, we're consuming differently, you know,
Correct.
than we were. You know, if it wasn't on the radio, if it wasn't on MTV, then, you know, we weren't getting it. That was it. You know, you had all your different radio stations with their different formats, and then you kind of had MTV, and that's kind of where we were getting our stuff. There was no internet or anything. Now you're consuming all of this stuff, but I don't know if you're talking about Oliver Anthony.
Well, that one too. I forget the song.
Chris Stapleton?
No, a couple months ago, there's that guy that wrote it was all very political bullshit, or, you know,
try that in a small town.
Yeah. And that, I don't know if that was a good or bad country song or not, but I just know it got white hot for a minute because it was so controversial, and it just blew up.
Yeah, country music is flourishing right now. There's big celebrities in there, and again, what helps that is, you know, and I play into it. You know, Lainey Wilson is famous,
right?
Just like Katy Perry is famous. It's not so much that she's famous in our space because of her music. It's just she's famous. She's just a famous person. Sure, she's a pop star, but she's a TV star. She's a brand. You know, Britney Spears showed us that, and Madonna showed us that they're a brand. You know, Madonna really was a musician, a true musician.
Right.
Britney was more of a brand. And I feel like a lot of this music right now it's a brand, and it's not so much concerned. You know, you have to have this whole package now. But yeah, the country stars are cultivating these people, and they're becoming famous. You know, Lainey Wilson, I keep going back to her because, number one, she's beautiful. Yeah. And she's on Yellowstone. They're famous. Who's famous? Who's famous on alternative radio? Red Hot Chili Peppers are pretty famous. You know, I mean,
that comes from a different place.
They can name, you know, names. Is Rivers Cuomo famous like that?
Not like that, no.
Like, you know, like Weezer's a big band, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If again, I know I'm talking. I'll go, Katy Perry or any of these pop stars. Pink. She can't walk down the street, but Rivers Cuomo can.
He pretty much could go.
The guys in Fall Out Boy and Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle, and they can go anywhere they want, and they're not going to get bothered by people.
Not really. No.
People will see them here and there, but you get my point.
Right.
Pop musicians are famous. Rappers, hip hop stars, they're famous.
Yep.
Because of social media and their music. And our guys, we don't have that fame. But the guys used to be famous, When Whitesnake walked around, you knew that was somebody. They looked famous. All rock bands, they looked like they were rock stars.
Yeah.
And, for good or for bad. But I kind of like my rock stars looking like rock stars. I like Måneskin. I like them looking like rock stars.
Right. Right. No, it's like Gene Simmons, I think, had a great quote where it's like, look, I don't want to make it look, if you're going to be up on a stage, look like you're supposed to be on the stage, not like you're supposed to be sweeping the stadium out after the show's over. You know what I mean? Like Green Day were out there in t-shirts for a lot of years in the early days because they're punk, but then they started dressing nice. They had the vests and the ties, and they had a better look, and it works for them. I like the rock star thing, but I thought that Nirvana question was interesting. I was like, I think the song would do well. It would come out like a Foo Fighters song, go up the charts, on the rock charts, do great. And then we'd be like, yeah, cool. And we'd be on to the next. I think your attention spans are shorter now too. You want that next. It would be hard. You talk about, to use your outer space reference of meteors, right? I think what we have are all these little comets that come in and we're like, whoa, Billie Eilish, that could be, okay, not really. And then, you get these other bands. What's the band? The Led Zeppelin kids that I was pissed about.
Greta Van Fleet.
Greta Van Fleet comes in. We're like, yeah, awesome. Oh, okay. And then we're not going to get that asteroid, right? The dinosaur killer that Nirvana was,
Right.
I don't see us ever getting that. And I have these conversations with record guys all the time. And I always throw this out here. I have this conversation a lot. I'm like, man, you think there's ever going to be that Nirvana? And everyone always says kind of the same thing. God, I hope so. But we don't see it. We just don't see it, because it's too fast now. And it's like with Nirvana, you had the song, then you had that huge video that was just blasted all over MTV. You go on YouTube and like when you say, hey, man, go check out that Harry Styles song. I'm like, all right. So I go and I see the video and it's got like 1 billion hits. I'm like, where the fuck have I been?
Yeah.
1 billion views. What have I been doing? You know what I mean? Like, so
you're just being exposed to it.
So that's where it gets really bizarre. It's like, someone figures out the secret sauce, they'll be all right. But going back to like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and that, those guys have got millions of hits and millions of songs and they're recognizable. I mean, Anthony Kiedis was in Point Break. Need I say more? At the end of the day.
Well, but I think, there's the potential because of, and I'll bring his name back up, Oliver Anthony. He's the kind of outback dude, the redhead with the beard, right. And Richmond, north of Richmond. I just looked it up. 58 million views right now. It's 4 weeks in. So it's still climbing. It's getting 1 million views. It's getting a million views a day right now. He went on Joe Rogan. There could be a rock band, and that's how it's going to happen, by the way. It's going to happen Oliver Anthony style, that something's going to get picked up. The thing about it is it won't be something that you and I love, but hopefully it's something in the rock space, which is really broad, but it'll be something that a 17-year-old will love because that's who fueled 17 to 22. That's who fueled Nirvana.
Right. Fuels every band might come out.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to jump on that ride as a now fucking 54-year-old, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to be this guitar awesome thing. But something's going to happen and something's going to pop on YouTube. And we'll get our Oliver Anthony, I think we will. I really do. It'll be, The Warning, those girls came through. Those were the girls that they're three sisters. They're from Mexico. I can't remember where. But they put up a video of them doing Enter Sandman when they were, maybe the bass player might have been like 9 or 10. And they played BuzzFest, and they're on that Metallica tribute album, and they tour the world and everything, and they're a rock band. They are a rock band. Now they're not there yet to a huge level, but something's going to happen. We're going to get a rock band off of YouTube, or a rock-ish band off of YouTube that kids are just going to lose their mind over.
Just because of what we do for a living. So I like to let people go behind the curtain because it's fun. I hope people appreciate it. Is that almost every day I've got 5 or 6 emails that say, dude, this has got 7 million Spotify's. This has got all these streams. It's got all these YouTube hits. This band is going to be the next thing. Like it's like record reps are salespeople. They're trying to sell me to get me to play that song on the radio. So while I totally agree with you, the problem is that people in the radio business are just being all this, this is going to be the next big thing. This is going to be the next big thing. So we're always getting that force fed at us. The radio wizards get it probably twice as much because Houston is such a major market. So yeah,
but those are bands that, because the record label's pushing them, they're on their label and they've got all these great. It's going to happen. I say going back. I got to go back to Oliver Anthony. It's going to be some band that fucking uploads a song from their living room, from their mom's basement, because they're going to be up north and it's going to be cold. So they're going to record something. It's going to go on the internet, and then boom, you and I are going to find out when it's got 20 million views. And they're like, oh shit, what's going on with this? I keep hearing this story about this guy or this band. That I think we're going to get. It'll be a band that's not signed. It will be something completely that kids upload, and it's going to connect somehow. And and then every record label is going to go chasing after them and then go ruin them.
And then we're gonna be like, this sucks, and then we're gonna move on. See, that's the problem. There's this kid, I think he's out of Houston. His name is David. He's like 17, and he spells it DA, the number 4 ID. Because you can't just you got to have a number in your name now, Rod. You need to be like Rod. Oh, you do 0 ROD. Gotcha. Anyway, he was making music and putting it in TikTok videos, okay? Because he's a big video game player, all right? Played tons of video games. So he kept getting and he had like bazillions of people following him on TikTok and shit. So he was very popular that way. Well, then he kept getting shut down because he was using copyrighted music in these videos. So he was like, well, shit, I want to have music playing while I'm doing this. So he went, and there's some program, and I don't know what the name of it is, that you can it's got all these beats on it, and you can do it on your phone. You can do it on an iPhone, some program, some app. He started making his own music, started writing his own songs, and they're good. And the record label picked him up, and then they started pushing his songs on different stations. And we never played it.
That's Old Town Road.
Exactly. The same concept.
That's Old Town Road. I mean, he bought that beat.
Right.
He bought that beat from like Fiverr. And then
but that's it.
And then somehow got to Miley. Miley talked her dad into doing it, but I don't know. I don't know the story to that. But then I know Trent Reznor said, no, that's me. Trent Reznor gets a ton of money off of that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. No. That Trent Reznor got a ton, millions of dollars. Trent
got his
yes.
Oh,
that boom. Yeah, that's him.
God, that's awesome.
I never heard of D4VD. Here With Me, 65 million views.
Exactly.
Romantic Homicide, 73 million views. Oh, this one must suck. Sleep Well only has 7.7 million views, been up 4 months. Here With Me, 70 million. Oh, he's got 2 Here With Me's. One's got 70, one's got 65 million.
Must be a remix. Well, but to get to your point, there's a million kids making shit in their basements or in their mom's, in their bedrooms. And the record label took notice of it. So they went out and they're trying to shop this kid around. Well, no one's really biting in the radio world, is my point. But you can see where these things are out there happening. They're happening all the time. It's just, will someone break through and get through the radio and get through all that shit?
It will. Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube way back when. So I think it's going to happen. I think, I mean, it could be in and out. It remains to be seen, what happens to, Oliver Anthony, who is still a huge story. And, Joe Rogan got him on his podcast, 3 weeks in. And I don't have Joe Rogan numbers, but I imagine, this kid's got a lot of people. Well, he's a guy. He's got a lot of people interested in him. That's for sure.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing about, going back to the Nirvana thing is they followed it up with more songs. That helps Smells Like Teen Spirit. Nirvana kept releasing good songs and were very well received. So you could have that one song, but it ain't going to be that song that gets you over the hump to be like a Nirvana. You need to have the hits afterwards too.
They had this song, and they also had a perfect album to back it up. They had a perfect album where it's just like, holy shit. And then you look at how it's held up over time. And it's one of those albums that, come on, everybody knows every single song. Breed wasn't really played. Polly wasn't really played all that much on the radio, but it now. Yeah. It's just one of those albums, like, every single song on Van Halen 1, or, every single song on Guns N' Roses, all the bigs that we always bring up.
It's got the DNA. It's in your DNA. Like David Lee Roth used to say all the time, and Van Halen's in your DNA at this point because it's been in every sporting event. It's everywhere. It's in your DNA.
Well, but you're in Van Halen because you're like this.
It's one way or the other. I never get the quote right. I say it's on my shirt and I still get it wrong every time. So I'm pissed off.
Well, listen, we've talked a lot. We've already kind of mentioned a lot of the bands and everything, and I'm sure some of the stuff that we've already mentioned is going to come up, but bunch of great suggestions. Thank you, guys. Keep emailing your top 5 suggestions. Some great stuff came through. Sylvester Stallone top 5, Denzel Washington top 5. There was a bunch of stuff that came in. I thought the Sylvester Stallone was strong.
Yeah, that's a
really strong. But then, Jesus Christ, like, what are you going to take it all up with Rocky and Rambo?
I think you like
shoot
like you did with Star Wars when he did the space movies. You just kind of go Rockies. Number 5.
It's gonna be Rockies and Rambos.
Yeah,
it's almost like top 5 that are not Rocky and Rambo. Maybe we'll do that.
There you go. That's it.
I'm here for that new Expendables movie too. That might get me into the theater again. I may, for the second time in 6 years, I may go to the movie theater to go see the dumb Expendables. I don't care. I don't mind being made fun for it. If you guys want to watch murder porn and watch all your dumb shit, Knives with Wives and how to kill your husband and get away with it, let me watch my dumb thing. The Expendables, awesome. I love it. I love them.
I like the first 2. It's dumb. You got to go into it knowing, but I like them. I like both of them. They're goofy.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to do our top 5 favorite grunge songs, which I did not think that was very easy to do. Just because of the quantity out there. But listen, next time you visit New Orleans, make sure you book the Pirate Tour. Have you taken the Pirate Tour yet? Okay, and this goes for some of the locals, because sometimes this, you got to kind of give them a nudge too. Okay, if you're living out in Kenner, you're out there in Chalmette, brah, you got to get nudged like, you know what, that's just for tourists. No, it's not. It's for everybody, okay? So get your ass down there, take the Pirate Tour. It's a French Quarter walking tour like no other. Even if you live there, I'm sure you don't know this shit, okay? Discover real pirate history of New Orleans. Book your tour, piratesofthequarter.com. And then on their website, piratesofthequarter.com, they got a great store. They got all these great new T-shirts. The pirates are all stocked up and ready to go, so they could definitely get your order out. No no back order slips. They got your T-shirts in stock and ready to go. So there's the shop page on piratesofthequarter.com. So get your kick-ass T-shirt now. Everything piratesofthequarter.com, and then on the socials at Pirates of the Quarter.
So
grunge.
Before we get to the grunge,
sure.
I got something in the mail the other day. And it wasn't this awesome shirt, by the way. Mail's been pretty busy around here lately at my house. It's been pretty interesting.
Check out Mr. Popular over here.
Well, it's the first 2 pieces of things in the mail I've gotten in years, so it's going to go away. So I gave a tour, the Pirates of the Quarter tour, 6 months ago. Guy took the tour. I kind of know him through different channels. Right. He's like, dude, thank you so much for the
last time you gave a tour. Geez, I didn't know you were that hurting that bad.
No. Just there was a guy a few months ago that took a tour. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he, loved it and all that good stuff, and must have been telling friends about the tour. He went back home to, Virginia, wherever he's from. And I get this in the mail. It's just on a card, like a 5x7 little card. And it says, "Hey, hope you're doing well." He said, "My buddy's dad works for the Hollywood Vampires." Now, the Hollywood Vampires is an all-star band. It's got Alice Cooper. It's got Joe Perry from Aerosmith. It's got Johnny Depp. It's, and they tour and they play tunes. I haven't seen them. I would like to actually see that band. I'm sure it would be entertaining as hell to see, because Alice Cooper's still Alice freaking Cooper.
Yeah.
So he says that my buddy's dad works for the Hollywood Vampires and was with them in Europe on tour. My buddy told Johnny Depp about your pirate tour and got you this pick from him, straight from Johnny Depp's pocket to yours. So I got a fucking Johnny Depp guitar pick from the Hollywood Vampires. Johnny Depp knows.
Guitar pick.
Like a guitar pick. Yeah, sorry. No, not a hair pick.
I thought a picture, you jackass.
Oh, that'd be cool. No, a guitar pick. So, like, Johnny Depp knows about the pirate tour. I thought that was kind of cool, man.
That's pretty badass.
That's pretty neat. I got a Johnny Depp. It says Hollywood Vampires on it, and then JD initials for the guitar pick. So it's kind of cool.
Have on any level at all, celebrities taken the Pirates of the Quarter tour?
None that anybody would know.
I mean, it could have been some guy from like Survivor season 28.
Yeah, I mean, we get people like my brother does tours as well on the tour, and he had like some real famous YouTube kid one time, and he didn't know who he was, but like people were stopping, going, "Oh my god, I saw you on YouTube!" Like kids were stopping. And
really?
And he's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" He didn't know until afterwards that he was like some YouTube kid or something. I don't know who it was. And then
what is the filming situation? Was that kid trying to get content from?
No, he wasn't filming shit.
Okay.
He was just hanging out, taking the tour. I had a guy on a tour one time. He was in some movie back in the 80s. And actually, it was cool talking to him afterwards. He is like a stuntman in Hollywood. And he was an actor for a few like super, C-level movies back in the day.
Hooper?
But, I wish, right? But he teaches like sword fighting in a lot of the movies that you see today.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool to talk to that guy about like sword fighting and technique and all the bullshit. But nobody that I've gone, holy shit, I gotta give a tour to this guy. Like not yet.
Well, now that Johnny Depp knows, I'm sure the Deppster will be stopping by.
Probably not, but I thought that was kind of neat. So yeah,
do me a favor, pull the old. Hey, listen, bro. I paid to go see every one of your movies. You're gonna have to pay for my tour. Like, don't let him go it for free.
Actually, you know what? For free. Not to get back into the Foo Fighters, but I'm gonna. Is that like Dave Grohl's got that? He says it all the time in different interviews. He's like, I go into record stores, and people want to give me the records because I like to buy records. I'm like, no. Don't charge the dude behind me. I got millions of dollars. I'm good. Don't give it to me for free. That kid behind me, he's working his ass off. He's throwing papers or working in a kitchen somewhere. Get the kid behind me the free records. So it's like, yeah, you pay, bitch. I provide a service. And that service costs money. Okay.
I mean, that was coming. Very good. Thank you, Damone.
There you go. Top 5 favorite grunge tunes, Rod. I kept mine right down the middle. I didn't get off in the weeds at all. At all.
You didn't?
I got hits. I went straight up down. I was straight up the middle, right through Hitsville. Known? No, I didn't pick L7 or Sonic Youth or I didn't get into that world. Green River. Nobody knows that shit.
This was awful. You thought this was easy to scope it into a top 5?
No, but this is one that I didn't do any. I just went literally off the top of my head. I went bang, 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 bang. And then tomorrow I would have 5 different songs. But it's hard because we play this shit all the time.
Well, so, that's true.
So this makes it one of those weird, like, ugh. I kind of went where it was, we beat the shit out of these songs on the radio, but I can still listen to them and I still get excited when I hear them. I kind of went on that criteria a little bit. You got some weird shit on yours?
I don't have weird shit. No, because even though you play a lot of this stuff and you play it over and over again, I think this is going to be. I think there'll be some bleed over. I really do. When it comes to like the greatest, but again, it's our favorites, so we'll see. So if you go and you just do a little bit of a deep dive on grunge, they kind of do. They'll start in like '85, and you'd mentioned Green River, okay? So Green River, there was some Pearl Jam dudes in there, and there was some Mudhoney guys in there, and they were kind of hanging out in this band. Soundgarden really does go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Soundgarden does go back to the 80s, and the Melvins. I mean, those are the three really, really big ones. But when it comes to, the big four, the flannel four, and, and I always like to give a little consideration to Stone Temple Pilots because I really feel like they're right up there, but they weren't Seattle. So, do you just call it the big four? Is it the flannel four?
If you're going to talk,
how do you handle Stone Temple Pilots? Or is there another band? Is there anyone else that the flannel four? Let's get that out of the way. Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam.
Sure.
Who's? I mean, we're going to have to do a six-headed Mount Rushmore for this.
Well, I don't know if it's Mount Rushmore, but I would definitely say you have to put Stone Temple Pilots in there because they took all that shit, right? Well, you're copying Pearl Jam. Stone Temple Pilots was in California in 91 recording that first album. Yeah. So they weren't copying Pearl Jam because.
But is there anyone else? Is there anyone else?
You could really start bleeding out a little bit. You can go out and think. I kind of went grunge sound. Okay.
Yeah.
Bush, literally a ripoff of Nirvana. It's got that same sound, that drop. What do you call it? Drop D, drop E. I don't even know. Guitar sound. Kind of that angsty. You don't know what the fuck they're singing about. That whole grunge package. I mean, if somebody threw in an old, and they're not grunge, but if someone threw in an old Smashing Pumpkins tune, I'd go, okay, I got you. I hear what you're saying. It's not a grunge. I get it.
But it gets lumped into it. Grunge just doesn't mean Seattle, okay?
No, it does
because grunge, Silverchair. Silverchair was grunge, right?
Absolutely. The first album, holy shit. Yeah, totally.
So, it's not Seattle. It's not Science. It's not Bunsen burners and beakers and shit. It really is kind of that time frame and
sound. It's a sound. It literally is a sound.
Now, where I have a problem, including in grunge, would be Jane's Addiction.
Nah, I wouldn't put them in grunge.
I think they were pre-grunge. I thought they kind of did their own thing. Kind of like you wouldn't put Red Hot Chili Peppers in grunge at all. No. You just wouldn't, No. I mean, it just was a different vibe. It was a different thing.
Yep.
And again, it's not just Seattle, but you had mentioned L7. Very grungy, right?
Very grungy. Yeah. You could put Veruca Salt in that sound. You could put the Breeders, a couple songs in that sound. I mean, like it's a case by case then. It becomes a song issue, not a band issue. Smashing Pumpkins would never say that. Billy Corgan's not gonna go, yeah, we're a grunge band. Fuck no. He's never gonna say that. But some of their songs, if you said, hey, Cherub Rock fits on that list, I'd be like, oh, yeah, all right. I got you. I feel it.
Yeah.
That says thick, heavy guitars. It works. It totally works.
Fucking Rocket, my favorite. Awesome. Do we do top 5 Smashing Pumpkin songs?
I don't think we have. Yeah. How is it we always think of this shit in the middle of the podcast? Then we don't.
How the fuck have we not done top 5 Smashing Pumpkin songs?
I don't know. Dude, seriously, look at me. You're with the wrong guy. You need a new partner on this thing, man.
But so big four, obviously from Seattle. I don't put anyone. There's you mentioned Stone Temple Pilots. Maybe Bush. Okay, maybe Bush.
You got 6. Outside of that, then you start really, I can say Bush and STP just because they had the feeling, the sound, the whole thing going.
Yeah.
You start wandering. You Silverchair, one hit wonder, I mean, yeah, I get it. They had other songs, very grunge sounding on the first album. Okay, I guess. But then you start wandering, and then it gets a little bit fuzzy. You know what I mean? Cloudy. So I'd say 4, but then maybe 6.
Okay. Go ahead, dude. I'm excited about this.
Well,
I mean, this really, I mean, great suggestion. Again, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. Mike Walker is the one. He sent this in this morning when I put it out there for top fives. It just like, duh. Why haven't we ever done this? Go ahead.
Top 5 favorite grunge songs. Number 5 from 1994.
Yeah.
16 Stone is the album. Very grunge sounding all the way through, by the way. Bush and Machine Head. That guitar comes out and it just starts smoking. It's smoking out of the gate. Yep. It just smokes out of the gate. Nobody knows what the fuck they're singing about. And it's okay. You don't have to. It's got that cool vibe. And the reason why Bush sounds grungy is because Gavin Rossdale in the early 90s was in the United States for a while, hanging out. And what was on the radio in the early 90s? Shit ton of Nirvana.
Yeah. The only thing where they kind of took some shit early on is he was a pretty boy.
Yep.
And grunge wasn't about the image at all. And he went shirtless on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. And it didn't represent, I mean, grunge was also, I mean, listen, I don't want to mansplain everything here, but it was also the fashion. You know, it overtook, you know, pop culture. And it overtook fashion. So if you think about the baggy, layered clothing and the ripped jeans and everything, and then you got Gavin Rossdale with no shirt on Rolling Stone magazine, and, you know, grunge guys were like, ugh. And the grunge guys didn't even want it to be called grunge. They didn't want to, you know, nobody wants to be labeled. But that's the only other thing that I would say about that. You're completely on point with mentioning Bush and putting him on your list. But that was where they were kind of a little bit of an outlier.
Totally. But you know what? It's 94. Things are starting to water down because that's what happens. You know, you hit your big asteroid comes in, bang, hits, and then you get a couple little comets come in. Joom, joom, joom. Yeah. So this is the watering down of everything. But definitely got that grunge sound. Number 4, going back to 1994 again, Stone Temple Pilots, Vaseline.
Ooh.
Spelled Vaseline and not Vaseline, because they don't want to get sued back to the Stone Age by the lube company.
Now, okay, now, I'll hold my comments.
Fun fact, which is crazy. You have to think about, okay, in where Stone Temple Pilots had so much success with Purple, a fucking great album. Okay, let's just not deny that. Great album. What happened was Kurt Cobain had just died. Okay. So Nirvana was like, oh, fuck, what's going on with Nirvana? Pearl Jam's Vitology album hadn't been released yet. Okay. And you kind of had this little bit of an open space in the radio world. And Stone Temple Pilots, and it's pure luck, dropped Purple at the perfect time. Interstate Love Song was the #1 song for 2 weeks straight on the modern rock charts. It got replaced by Vaseline. Stone Temple Pilots traded their #1 song for their next song, which was a #1 song. It doesn't happen very often. That's pretty powerful stuff.
Like the Beatles did shit. The Beatles did shit like that back in the day.
Correct. Now is Vaseline your typical? I mean, there's 20 other STP songs that are more grunge, like anything off the first album. That's super grunge. This comes from the grunge era, and Vaseline, it's just got a cool sound.
Yeah.
You know, okay. Again, a million other STP songs could have been chosen, but in tomorrow, it'll be a different one. Number 3. Fuck. You know what? I'm reordering right now. Number 3. No, it's my list.
Get your shit together.
Number 3, which is weird because this is on my list last week. Screaming Trees, Nearly Lost You, 1992, Sweet Oblivion. That song and the movie Singles, that soundtrack, 1992. I'm telling you, Gen X, grunge movement, Singles had a lot to say and push all that forward, because that was the first time you got to really see that thing. You got to see the flannel shirts. They weren't wearing the layers of baggy clothes and shit because they were being cool. It's Seattle. It was fucking cold and they're poor. That's the look.
You know what I mean? They took a look at, because Jeff Ament, the bass player of Pearl Jam, like he's in the movie and stuff. They were basing what oh, Jesus Christ, Matt Dillon was going to wear. They were looking at their clothes. That's just what they wore.
Yeah, that's it.
And then that's how they dressed Matt Dillon and the other actors and actresses. They
Correct.
dressed them as to what these guys were just wearing. They didn't have a wardrobe for those guys. They did their thing.
Yep. That's that's what I love about that, is because it comes from an authentic place. Right? Going back to our earlier Nirvana question.
Yeah.
Authenticity ultimately is going to win. You got the pop song coming out, yay. And that goes back to your guy, the redheaded beard kid from West Virginia. Right?
Oliver Anthony.
That's authentic.
Yeah,
authenticity. It's real. People still want real shit. The pop stuff's nice. It's fun, but it's bubblegum. They want real. You know what I mean? So anyway, what did I say?
Screaming Trees.
Yeah,
number
nearly
3.
lost you. 92. Number 3. Number 2. 1990.
Ooh, early.
Yeah. Temple of the Dog and Hunger Strike.
Fuck, it's a great song.
Not technically your straight up grunge, but holy shit.
Look at the players, though. I mean, it's just,
It's an all-star band. Before there was any of these bands, when you think about it, Soundgarden hadn't had their success yet. Really? Not mainstream in 90. Eddie Vedder, the first song he sang was this song. Then he went and sang the Pearl Jam shit. Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, or Chris Cornell, were just in the same studio space at the time. Eddie Vedder hadn't sang one song for Pearl Jam yet. This was the first thing he sang up in Seattle. He'd just flown in from California. That shit's wild. And he went in and laid that down. They reworked the song, and Hunger Strike still smokes to this day. Smokes. Still great.
Is it better than Say Hello to Heaven?
Yeah, by a mile. I love that song. Yeah.
Because you got the dueling singers.
And it's just a little punchier. When that guitar starts kicking in, that dun dun, you're like, fuck, get out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. It's just bad. And it's in its peak. When you look at the video, you're like, oh, jeez. But that video is peak grunge. I mean, those guys are just wearing what they're fucking wearing. The long johns underneath the shorts, the combat boots, the whole thing. Fun fact, that Hunger Strike video is filmed outdoors by a lake or something, right? Well, in tribute to Andrew Wood from Mother Love Bone, right? That was Chris Cornell's BFF and roommate, who in Mother Love Bone, Andrew Wood died from a heroin overdose. So they were tight. So Chris Cornell was making this tribute album for his buddy. Well, they filmed that video, and when you see him like a side profile looking out over the water, they're looking towards where Andrew Wood used to live in that video. That's sort of a tribute to him. I didn't know that shit.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and watch that video. Very good. Fun fact, Jason Ginty.
I mean, I got shit. Number 1, this song, I've played it a trillion times on the radio. I've also listened to it at home many times. And just the other day, it came on and I cranked it up. I'm like, God damn it, this song is just powerful. There's just power behind this thing. And it's just fucking great. 1992, Alice in Chains, Wood.
It's a good one.
When you listen to that thing, really listen to that song. Really feel it, man. Again, another song written about Andrew Wood.
Yep.
Like that dude, fuck, man. I never got into Mother Love Bone. I don't know them really. I mean, I know a few songs now, but that dude must have been a fucking badass because everybody knew him. He was kind of like the leader of the scene from what I've gathered at the time.
Yeah, he was very charismatic. He was this great front man, had a good voice, obviously had his vices. But that Mother Love Bone album, I mean, there's, I can't remember. There's something that's weird out of order that like something came out after and then they redid it and whatever. So I think there's different versions of the same album out there. But it's great. I mean, it is great. Stone Gossard is the rhythm guitar player who went on to Pearl Jam. And then Jeff Ament, the bass player, he went on to, Mookie Blaylock, and then they became Stone Temple Pilots. Or I'm sorry, then they became Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That album is great. I mean, it is awesome. Stardog Champion is on that. It's fucking great. You're right. Everybody loved this guy. Everybody loved this guy, and they credit him. you're talking about Green River, and you're talking about Soundgarden, who had been around a while. And think about like how charismatic, when we talk about Chris Cornell, who the fuck is more charismatic than that guy? Well, Andrew Wood, apparently. And Andrew Wood and Mother Love Bone, and the Melvins were already around. They're the band that started getting everybody sniffing around because this guy was just, you had to come and see this guy,
Right.
And he was feather boa guy and stuff because, he's coming off of this kind of glam. So he kind of was almost this little bit of a glam type of glam / 70s thing going on.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that album's phenomenal. It really is. And it was only afterwards that everybody kind of like started digging this shit up. I wasn't. I heard of them. As a matter of fact, our buddy Dan Chambers, R.I.P., he had it early. He had that shit.
Wow.
Mother Love Bone. And he really liked it. And I remember him playing it for us and stuff. And it was great.
Another song that I didn't realize until a couple of years ago was about that is I hope I don't ruin your list here. Candlebox is Far Behind. I thought it was just a love song.
I got to talk to Chris Martin about that, and it was
Kevin Martin.
Kevin Martin, that's right.
Right.
It was weird that all these years that we didn't really kind of know that.
Yeah, I thought it was a love song.
And it was even weird talking to him, like, dude, did you have these guys' phone numbers? Why aren't you in on this? Are you on the other side of town? I don't know how Seattle is broken up, but like, where are you guys? They were signed beforehand,
Really?
Think about Candlebox, man. They were kind of already on the radio before Nirvana and stuff.
They were, 93 was Far Behind, right? That was their first single. Is it 93, 94? Something like that?
No, it's
95?
No, because remember when Vince got to the Fox before we were changed to the Edge, you have to go look that up. But remember we weren't playing Candlebox, and then he came in and brought all the Candlebox stuff. For some reason, our first PD wasn't playing that stuff.
93. Yeah, released in 93. Yeah, so they were beating around in that Seattle scene, but they were just, nobody seemed to, they didn't pop apparently until later. Well, 93 is not that much later though.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. Huh. I don't know. Whatever. What's funny is the Presidents of the United States of America, that band, remember Lump and all those goofy songs those guys wrote?
Lump, Kitties, and Peaches.
Yep. They were a Seattle band, which of course doesn't fit into any of this Mount Rushmore shit. And I don't consider them grunge, and they wouldn't consider them grunge, I don't believe either. But they had a hard time. Like 95, they came out, and they had hits on the alternative radio stations, and people were playing the shit out of those songs, and they caught a lot of shit because they were from Seattle. So you guys aren't from Seattle. And Chris Cornell actually went out and kind of like said, nah, man, dog, doesn't just because they're from Seattle doesn't mean they have to sound like Soundgarden. they're cool guys. Listen to their songs. It's good shit. He was out defending those guys back in the day. I didn't realize that.
They were kind of like, whose line is it anyway? Remember that Drew Carey show? And then they had the comedians.
Yeah.
So he would say, okay, you're a guy and you lost your pants and you're in the middle of the airport, go. And they would create these scenarios. Presidents of the United States of America would play in a bar and people would just yell shit out. And they would make up songs and they would play them right there on the spot. All those songs were like just these things that were just, that's how they kind of created. That's how they kind of worked like that.
Yeah.
So
fun band. Very fun band.
Peaches come in a can. They were put there by a man in a factory downtown.
Fuck you, kitty.
Meow, 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 meow.
Dude, but I remember,
songs.
But remember when they like the boss would hand you the song, go, hey man, this is the new president's song. It's called Kitty. And I'm like, you play it. All right. Cause I was doing nights. So I play all the new shit, usually first. So it's like fucking Kitty. And I'm like, the bass line's fucking cool, the whole thing. And then it stops and there's a guy meowing on the air. And I'm going, are you trying to fucking kill me here, man?
Yeah.
There's a guy meowing in a song, right? I mean, it worked.
But people loved it. People absolutely loved it. And then, geez, when they did Lump, There's only so many bands that got the Weird Al Yankovic treatment, and when he did Gump, that just sent them through the roof too. I mean, it just because it was a huge deal, man. When Weird Al did one of your songs, man, it was a big deal back then.
Well, you knew you'd made it. That was a big song because he's not going to do some fucking obscure shit, Yes. I mean, that was what's great about it. Yeah, Weird Al took a song that was kind of funny, and then made it funny. It's great. That's pretty cool. So hopefully I didn't ruin your two of your songs with Lump, Kitty, or Far Behind.
No,
because those aren't really grungy. I don't consider Candlebox a grunge band. Seattle band, but not grunge.
But the era, yeah, I know.
You could fit. I would if you had a certain song. I'd be like, all right, fine, your list.
I do not have them on my list, and I think we only have one same song.
Mm-hmm.
In at number 5, Interstate Love Song.
Yeah.
Because it's the band, it's the era. Does that song, is it sound grunge? Your song Vaseline encapsulates maybe better, if that's a word. But Interstate Love Song is just fucking, and it's a flip of a coin for me. It really is the flip of a coin for me. Plush and Interstate Love Song. I think they're fucking both perfect. I think they're perfect songs, and there's not a whole lot of perfect songs, and I think that both of them are. Interstate Love Song, maybe just a little bit better.
Something about the way that song just flows. There's something like you say, a perfect song. It's just everything about it flows. The lyrics just fit in it so nicely, and the guitar line is so great. And something about that song. You're right. I do like Interstate better than Vaseline, but I always felt Interstate felt just poppy. Yeah. It didn't feel grunge. Now, again, this is splitting hairs at this point, but no, I'm all for you on that one. I like it.
Like when I say perfect song, Peter Gabriel, Salisbury Hill, it's a perfect song. Dun, 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 the tempo and everything. They just did every single thing right,
Right.
All right, number 5, Interstate. Number 4, Come As You Are, Nirvana. I still think it's a fucking amazing song.
It is cool.
I still think it's an amazing song. It's I guess it's my favorite Nirvana song. It's my favorite Nirvana song.
It's got that real thick, kind of a wet, I don't know how you call it, guitar.
But it followed up the biggest fucking song of all time, grunge.
And it sounded different. A lot of times you'll follow up with a song that's very similar. They could have put out Breathe. They could have put out In Bloom, but no, they went, fuck you guys. Check this shit out. Here's what else we can do.
Come As You Are.
Yeah.
It's when you go into Aberdeen, Washington, the sign says "Come As You Are."
Yeah.
And then you got to look at the lyric where he says in the song, and I don't have a gun. Geez, we all wish that to be true. So that lyric is not lost on me either. I think it's just it also plays into that song for me. It really does.
Haunting.
That's my number 4. My number 3. 1994, seeing that you went with dates, Hole, Violet. I think that song is just an absolute banger. Courtney Love is Courtney Love. Whether or not she wrote that song or her fucking husband wrote it, I think her husband wrote it, but she's the songwriter on that album, and Eric, the guitar player, they wrote it. And, she wrote a lot of music with Billy Corgan. Well, that song's about Billy Corgan. And they're really kind of tumultuous relationship. And I remember asking her, I'm like, did you have sex with Billy Corgan? She's like, yeah. Like she answered that shit. She was awesome.
Yeah.
Or is awesome. I just hadn't talked to her in forever. But that song is just as important as any other song from that era. I really think that just that song, Hole, not anywhere near as big as Nirvana or the Flannel 4 or anything, but that song just always was amazing, and it takes me back. It is a full vibe. It's a full mood. It's a full fucking, that's 1994. Like, you hear that, it's 94 for me.
Yeah, no, 94, a big year for music, obviously.
That's my number 3. My number 2, Screaming Trees, Nearly Lost You.
Copycatter.
Fuck, they wrote a great song.
I mean,
they wrote a great song. They wrote a great album. That album, Sweet Oblivion, is this amazing album. And I already, bragged about the book last week. But, man, the band is fascinating. Everything that you think a band would be, just fucking fighting each other. I mean, fist fights and everything on stage, and your lead singer's is a complete junkie and everything. That band, it was the most dysfunctional band. Well, I mean up
yeah.
there. There's so many. Most bands were dysfunctional, but
Right.
they really, I can't stress how interesting Mark Lanigan's book is. It's so great. So that's my number 2. And my number 1, and this kind of, I went with how you were thinking with Vaseline. I use it on the air. If I talk Gen X, if grunge is a thing, if I need to talk about a year, I hit fucking Soundgarden's Outshined. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. And you want to talk grunge? If you want to look up the definition of grunge, it's Outshined by Soundgarden.
Yeah.
It's sludgy. You're stuck in the mud. Are they playing it too slow? Is it detuned like you had talked about? I think it's the perfect grunge song. I think it's absolutely the number 1. It's my favorite. I think it's the number 1 grunge song, even though we all know Smells Like Teen Spirit is the number 1 grunge song.
Correct. Outshine. Yeah, that's a. If someone said, "Well, what's grunge sound like?" You play the first 20 seconds of Outshine, and people would go, "Oh, Jesus, that sounds crazy."
For the same reason why I wanted to put Alice in Chains' Man in the Box. That same sludge, and I know sludge is a thing in New Orleans, but that same, just a little slower than you're comfortable with, but fuck, you're right. They're right in the pocket where they should be. First time you heard that stuff, hey, is this on the right speed? It was a little, it just, it was grungy, it was awesome. Man in the Box was one that I hate myself for not getting in the top 5. I hate myself. I mean, you had Wood, pick another Pearl Jam song, pick another Soundgarden song. It all works. You're not wrong. Right. That's why we totally puss out and call these lists. These are our favorites.
You could neither one of us put a Pearl Jam song on, but I could have picked 10, not the album, but like 8 different Pearl Jam songs. You know what I mean? Going back to that Outshined and that some of that early shit that you heard it first time, you're like, this is on the wrong speed. And you even kind of brought it up. There's that New Orleans thing, and musicians will talk about it all the time, where you're playing the drums and you're kind of leaning back, you're laying back in the beat. Okay, that's a musician term. They're holding for that last possible second. They're not right in the pocket, they're waiting. And that's what gives New Orleans music kind of this weird swagger, right? Is that what they're doing with a lot of the grunge too? They're kind of holding, they're waiting. It feels like they're just kind of purposely hanging back.
You're in the pocket.
Right.
You're in the pocket, and where just to for something to contrast, for contrast, AC/DC is straight dun 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 dun. It's just straight 4/4 time, 2/4 time. It's just on the beat. And when you look about Outshined, and the other thing about Soundgarden is just they don't have normal time signatures on any of their songs too. So they always had really fucked up time signatures. Chris Cornell, drummer, right. Drummer first. He would tell you drummer first, singer second. And, he just needed to sing. They're like, fuck, you have to be our singer, dude. So they went out and got Matt Cameron, who's just this phenomenal drummer. But that's all coming from Chris's head, though. All of that weird off time shit.
Right. Yeah. You
couldn't have the AC/DC drummer play that. You know what I mean? Like he just couldn't do that.
No, probably not. It's funny because that grunge sound and it was really kind of, I mean, I know what grunge is, obviously, after being in the business for 200 years, but like it really stuck out. And this is where it really stuck out. It was about a year ago, and I went to the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert in LA. right? So everybody got, and they had everybody. I'm watching Alanis Morissette, and then you're watching the James Gang and Joe Walsh, and you're watching, some guys do some Black Sabbath, and you're watching it was band after band after band, the tribute show, right? Then if you watch the one from London, it's the same concept, right? The whole night's going along, and it's like, this is fucking awesome, right? It's band after band, all these collaborations, and I'm like, this is great. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they bust out like a Seattle tribute. Kim Thayil from Soundgarden, Matt Cameron, Dave Grohl's playing some shit. Some other Seattle legends are out there, and they just start going. They do like 3 songs. One was a Soundgarden song. It might have been Outshine. It was that 3 songs that they chose were sludgy, heavy. And I'm telling you, man, it just changed the air in the room. Like, it changed everything. And it's like, you see, and I felt it, and that was like, holy fuck, all this music's out there, and it's all this amazing music. But when they did those 3 songs, it was that Seattle sludgy grunge sound. Everything was different. And then they went back to the normal shit, and it just brought the room right back up. It's like a dimmer switch went on in the place and turned it way down while those 3 songs were playing, and then right back up. And it's like, that's what happened when grunge hit. Everything on the radio was going along nice, and then these guys just went, nah, we're going to bring the lights down a little bit. We're going to make it a little bit slower, a little bit.
It was
grungy.
darker. It was slower. It had a mopiness to it. It had a, let's not make a big deal about it feel to it,
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. All right. Yeah. But I just wanted to point that out because it was like, it really, I felt it in the room. It just was like, whoa, shit, what just happened? And it was awesome. But you could see and feel it's just a different thing altogether. It's got its own world going on there. So great list. I mean, you could have picked 50 other songs and I'd been like, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
No
the
problem.
Temple of the Dog stuff. I thought maybe you would have snuck in Mad Season, another super group.
Man, you talk about heavy.
I thought maybe you would have kind of snuck some of that in there, but you had to mention, I mean, Smashing Pumpkins, In Play, Bush, Silverchair. And if you went Seether, or not Seether, I'm sorry, but if you went Veruca Salt, any of that stuff from that time period, you could say, yeah, okay.
Grunge song, maybe not necessarily a band, but that song fit the mold at the time. A lot of fuzzy guitars, basically, at the end of the day.
Alice in Chains was on the radio first.
Correct.
And that they were opening up for Ozzy and stuff. That was a hard rock band. That's what it was. That was being classified as a hard rock band. There was nobody was calling anything grunge. Nobody was calling anything, or geez, all these guys from Seattle. They were just a band on the radio, happened to be from there. They were a rock band. And obviously the rest is history, but that first album, God, Facelift.
Yeah,
Damn,
when you think about Man in the Box, I mean that even that sounded different than what was on the radio at the time. It just had that different sound. It did.
Yep.
It totally sounded different.
That was the Alice in Chains song. I know most people think that Dirt is the masterpiece. Dirt is,
love it. Love it.
Dirt is like their master of puppets. I don't know. I tend to go back to that first album. And I think we did Alice in Chains top 5. And boy, I could pick apart that whole first album. That's when I found them.
Correct.
And you can't. I mean, it was awesome. You and I opening up Dirt in college and playing it. I remember that. But I had already known the band. So sometimes it's that one that brought you to the party.
Sure.
That you just have that extra love for. And that's where I am. That's where I'm at with that Facelift album.
See, I came in at Dirt. I knew of Facelift, and I went back and listened to it. I love it. But Dirt was my, like, holy shit. This, if you're ever having too good of a day, and you're just like, God, I love unicorns and rainbows, put on Dirt. They'll suck the wind out of the room. Holy shit. Remember, we did this awful, well, it was actually great, radio promotion. Dude, it was fucking awesome. We had a deal where we got a busload of listeners. Right? You won the contest on the radio. And we got on a bus and we fucking drove up to, I believe it was Memphis, to see the Saints take on, at the time, the Tennessee Oilers.
It was the Tennessee Titans. It was the Oilers at the time because they had just moved from Houston.
You know, it was.
So they hadn't changed the name yet?
I don't think they did. And it was a preseason game. So long story short, we went up to fucking Memphis with a bunch of listeners and we had cases of beer brought on the bus that I don't think we were supposed to do, but you and I were involved. So there was just shit tons. Everyone's getting hammered and we're partying balls on the bus. And like, you know, you're going through different states now. So that, you know, we lost the radio station. So it's like, well, what do we fucking play? And we had a bunch of video cassettes in a prize box we were going to give away. And you're like fucking digging around the bag. Ooh, Alice in Chains Unplugged. And we're like, fuck yeah, do it, bro. You put that thing out because the bus had a TV and a video player. We're like, this is perfect, man. Dude, within 20 minutes of that fucking MTV Unplugged Alice in Chains, the whole bus is knocked out. Everybody's fucking sleeping. Because as great as it is, it's pretty fucking one-dimensional and pretty mellow. And we'd been partying balls. At like 6 a.m., we had to be at the bus and shit. And by noon, everyone's just like, I'm like,
yeah,
we shouldn't put that.
Shout out to Major Tom.
Yes.
Fucking Major Tom was a promotions guy. Rest in peace. Man, he was a party animal. He was amazing. To have that trip, Major Tom is like a legend.
We stopped. This should be a whole podcast unto itself. We stopped at a fucking Wendy's like halfway through because everybody's starving, right? And we go in and everyone's got their cheeseburgers and their fries and their Frosties and all this shit, right? And then we get back on the bus and I look across, like I was on one side and across the aisle, and then Major Tom sitting in the seat eating his fucking cheeseburger, and he's holding a picture of Dave Thomas. He had ripped a picture of Dave Thomas off the fucking wall of a Wendy's.
Yeah.
And we carried Dave around the rest of the weekend.
Yep.
Just that kind of weekend. It was awesome. Spectacular. So if you want to put the kids to sleep, Alice in Chains, bro. Hey, you know, the Rod Ryan Show presents the Boobs Rock Golf Tournament October 18th at Wildcat Golf Club. If you wanted to, you can't. Foursomes are sold out. So, well, So I'm not golfing? I missed my chance.
Yeah, okay, you missed it. I told you, get in, dude. Too late.
Well, right. It's okay. If you can't golf, you can still be involved. They're still looking for hole sponsors, auction items, volunteers. Yeah.
You should do a Pirates of the Quarter hole. You could go out there and party in the Pirates. I'll give you any hole you want. Tent.
That's interesting.
A Pirates of the Quarter hole in the tournament, dude.
Should be a play pants hole. I mean, but we don't have any money to sponsor anything. So,
right.
Look, they are still looking for whole sponsors. So get your ass together and get your group together and get a whole sponsor, auction items, volunteers. All the money's going to the Rod Ryan Show Cares Foundation Boobs Rock Fund to support breast cancer research at MD Anderson in Houston. Everything you need to know is on the world famous Rod Ryan Show page at thebuzz.com. Foursomes are sold out, huh?
Yeah, golf tournament sold out. We still need some more sponsors. Need some more, if you make something, there's got to be somebody that's listening to this podcast right now, like the two people that are listening, maybe. What do you make? What like crafty thing do you do? What woodworking thing that you could make? Because you know what's hot right now? Anything Astros.
Yeah.
If you can make me some kind of metal, some kind of woody, kind of an Astro-y thing, or, Texans football right now. I mean, everyone's going to be high on football, before they start sucking. Let's get, while everybody's excited, you're always excited at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, that's where we do really well, when people like make things and we auction those types of things off. Some guy made us a Boobs Rock grill, dude.
Wow.
A full-on grill. He bends metal. He did the whole thing. He cut it, I don't know how he did any of it. I'm like, oh my God. Like a hibachi grill, but it was a Boobs Rock grill. So crazy. He's like, here, I made this for you guys. Like,
but that's a custom piece. Like it's
a one-of-a-kind thing.
That's cool.
And I'm like, I'm not letting this go for cheap. Okay? I'm bidding on this. You're going to have to beat me to win this.
Dude, you already got a Benihana's at your house. You don't need a fucking custom grill now. Did you do the volcano? Last episode we talked about you're a flat top guy now, right?
Yeah, I'm cooking for a bunch of people here. There's no time for farting around with a damn volcano. I'm trying. I got my corn over here on this grill at a elote, and I'm just running around. I'm trying to time everything out. It's like it's got a very Thanksgiving vibe to it because you're trying to time everything out. Like, fuck, I'm burning the dogs over here. So yeah, there was no time to play around with a volcano, but I will. I will.
You got to get a few under your belt, cook it for a while on it and then get that courage up, get the confidence and then get after it, Rod. I think you'll be all right. Any final thoughts, Rod?
One sleep from when we're recording here on Wednesday. We are one sleep away from NFL football. I'm here for it. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. What I haven't pulled the trigger on yet is I think it's close to $500, 500 for the NFL ticket.
Really?
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, it won't be happening.
I got a $50 off right here. I'm sitting on it right now.
Oh, that's gonna really knock a dent in that. That's cool.
But I'm sitting on a YouTube. Here we go. YouTube, NFL Sundays are back. Get ready. The NFL season is almost here. Get $50 off. Offer ends September 19th. No refunds. So I got a little bit of time. But I'm thinking it's over $400 to get the NFL ticket.
That's a lot of shit, dude. Yeah, see,
it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be watching that much football. I'm gonna be interested this year. We've talked about it before. I'm interested in obviously the Saints, the Bills. I'm gonna keep my eye on Houston. I like your coach. They played the Saints, so I kind of got to watch. He seems like he's got shit fired up. How good they're gonna be, I don't know about that, but it's gonna be fun to watch them. And I really want to watch how Sean Payton does out in Denver, taking over that team. And I want to see what Aaron Rodgers does in New York. So there's a lot of unique storylines that I want to kind of see throughout the year. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, the first Monday night game, September 11th, Bills are in New York taking on Aaron Rodgers. You know he wants to make a statement. He wants to get the biggest market in America behind him. Obviously, don't want him to have a good game, but I can't wait. Like, that's just must-see TV. So that's it, man. I'm just excited. And Astros just on a tear right now. Of course, not when I go to the game. For some reason they couldn't beat the Astros last weekend. But then boom, they just fucking manhandled the Texas Rangers, Dallas. So we're getting into, the end of the season. Astros sitting at number 1. I'm sure you've heard of Mattress Mac. Mm-hmm. I spent $4,000 on a mattress, and I got in early that if the Astros win, I will get double my money back. So I think it comes out to be like $7,600 that I'll get back. If the Astros win the World Series, that's how much money I have coming to me.
Hey, got a question?
Sure.
I haven't bought a mattress in a while. What the fuck much does a mattress cost these days?
Tempur-Pedic, $3-4 grand.
Oh, you got this. You got the soft back. That's right. I forgot. You got the thing. You got the.
No, you think you're sleeping on some sponge, and I use my sister as an example all the time. She wanted a firmer mattress. Yeah. I got her a fucking Tempur-Pedic that is rock hard. It's still a Tempur-Pedic, but yeah, I mean, I kind of always thought those things were just going to be really like spongy and shit.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
So yeah. You're going to spend, dude, sleep is so important. It's a third of your life. Yeah. Spend the money, get a good goddamn mattress. I'm not trying to sell you one, but Gallery Furniture, I know a guy.
No, I got one. I got a new one. I'm good. I just fucking mattresses, dude. It's like, those are the types of things I hate spending money on. Refrigerators, mattresses, ovens. Fuck.
It was $4 grand.
Yeah,
it was $4 grand for a queen. Yeah. I didn't get any kind of a motorized base or anything like that. It was just the box spring and the mattress. It was $4 grand. But if the Astros win, I got double my money back because he's still rolling his promotion. I mean, if I talk about Mattress Mac and Gallery Furniture, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. He puts about millions of dollars on the Astros to win the World Series, and if he wins, he gives you. That's where you get your money back, right?
He does it now with the Kentucky Derby, and he does it with the national championship game. I mean, he's an animal. I mean, he's
awesome.
He's the biggest bettor he places the largest bets of anybody in the United States of America. So much so that sometimes he's got to go to different sports books and he's got to break up his bet because they can only take so much.
Wow, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What a way. How smart to figure that out. First of all,
he's an animal.
Badass.
He's an absolute animal. If the Astros lose, well, then all of us went and bought mattresses. If the Astros win, boom. I'm like, bro, he claims, we won the World Series last year. He said he gave back $75 million.
But how much did he win?
Like, $75 million. He says he has it right down to how much people bought. That's what he bets. He figures out the numbers and all of that. And then boom. I go, bro, you must be putting something aside. Mama's letting you do this. You must be buying her something nice. He's like, well, yeah, maybe there's a little extra.
Yeah, but that's pretty. But the publicity he gets is going to sell more shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's smart. That's really crazy, but really fucking smart.
But it's getting real fun. I mean, again, my whole thing was going to be one sleep until football, but baseball is really, really fun right now. What do you got? Final thoughts, Jason Ginty.
Do you know what a cooter stick is, Rodney? A cooter stick.
No.
Okay, I'll tell you, because I found out a couple weekends ago. Did a little you ever go tubing on a river? Like a float?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well, we have
very big, very, very big here in Texas.
That makes sense, right? We've got a river north of here, north shore of New Orleans here. And what you do is you go up and you're out in the woods, bro. You are out with God's people, and it's awesome. Okay, I love it. And you bring your booze, you bring your food, and you park your car, and you got your flippy floppies, and you got your bathing suit, and they drive you in a rickety ass van upriver 4 or 5 miles, and they go, here's a bunch of inner tubes, go get one, and see you later. And then you jump in the water, and the current will slowly take you 4 or 5 hours later. Boom, You're back where you started.
Yep, they're experts at it here in Texas.
Fucking fun as shit. So you're out in the woods, and it's just awesome. And it was so hot, right? So, well, we hadn't had rain in so long. The river's very low, and it's natural. This is not some man-made shit. You're out in the shit, right? It's just a river. And they're like, watch out for all the fucking cooter sticks. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Cooter sticks. So some girl goes, yeah, cooter stick. You're floating down and you're in an inner tube, you're floating around. You got your legs up in the air, your ass is in that hole. You go down and you're not paying attention. That stick will hit you right in the friggin' crotch. I'm like, oh, the cooter. I got you. Cooter sticks. I learned this.
What is the stick? Like,
it's just tree branches.
Okay.
So trees fall down and then you're floating down the river and all of a sudden, boom, and you're like, oh. So you got to watch out for the cooter sticks. This was a term that was being thrown around quite a bit. It has nothing to do with the mechanic from the Dukes of Hazzard. It has everything to do with a stick in a river that you don't see, and it jams you right in your pee hole.
I love it.
Yeah, cooter stick, dude.
I love it.
I didn't know about this. This is why you got to get out in the world. You learn things.
You float the river? When did you float?
A couple weeks ago, man. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
The Boga Chitto is a stream, North Shore, dumps into Lake Pontchartrain. Awesome. Had a blast. It's the dumbest fun you can have. It's so fucking cool.
That's awesome.
Nature. You know what I didn't like? I kept thinking snakes and alligators. I couldn't get over that part. It was in my head the whole time. I couldn't get past it and saw neither.
Is the water cold?
It was not cold.
Is the water cold though?
Not really. It wasn't. I mean, was it cold? Yes, because it was 106 that day or some shit. So it felt cold, but it wasn't super cold. You just jumped right in and felt great. It's not like coming out of a spring.
Yeah. So people float the Guadalupe River and the Frio River. Obviously, Frio, it's cold. They're cold. I mean, they are cold. Yeah.
Interesting.
But same thing, water level. And you know what these guys know? They know how much water is coming through. There's an actual number used for the amount and the speed of the water.
Wow.
They know, like people that go all the time, they're like, yeah, the Guadalupe's running at, I'm not even going to try to throw a number out there because I have no idea, but they'll say it's running at this, and they'll know how deep it is, how fast it's moving.
Oh, so
you'll know how long your ride is.
Oh shit, that's wild. Yeah, ours was
It's crazy. They know that shit.
Meandering. I mean, this was a meandering, slow cruise. There's plenty of places to pull off, drink, hang out, skip rocks, the whole thing. So, yeah, watch out for your cooter sticks, Rod. Next time you're floating down a river, you catch one in the bung, you're going to know it. You're going to know it. That's a safety issue.
The 2 YouTube packages for the NFL is with the $50 off, $3.99, and then one package for $4.39.
What the?
NFL ticket, bro.
Nah, I'm out. I'm not gonna watch that much. I'm gonna watch. I'll have the Saints games on. I'll watch the Bills games. I gotta tap out.
There's gonna be a lot of nationally televised Bills games. That's the only reason I'm gonna get it is for the Bills games, right?
Correct.
So
correct. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for checking out the podcast. If the YouTube channel, Play Pants Pod. If you're not watching us, you can watch all of this. And then all of our socials, which we suck at, Play Pants Pod, at Play Pants Pod. And then, man, if you could download and hitting the subscribe button would help us a lot too. I mean, just let us know that you're out there. It would be awesome for you to drop some comments. Favorite grunge song. If you have an idea for a top 5, I couldn't believe just tons of ideas were coming through today. So I'll mention that again on the air too.
Yeah, save those.
That's
we'll
it.
Need them.
Yeah, we need. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Peace.
Let's go. It's time. Put on Play Pants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at Play Pants Pod.